offerings to me. I never told them. Oh God. Well, who told them? Who told them to put all those oxen and all those sheep and all the goats and all the pigeons and whatever else they killed? Thousands upon thousands every year died on that altar. And God said, I didn't even tell you to do it. How come? They were living by the moonshine. You see, Moses heard the voice of God. And Moses did a good job. He told them what God was saying. But see, that was a reflected light for them. That wasn't the real light. And even the law. You know, they just tried to pick the law up literally and just tried to make it work, and they couldn't. But then we couldn't either, so you can't blame them. But see, that was their problem. They were living in a nighttime experience because they never walked in the light of the sun. And I'm saying to you today, we need to learn how to walk in the light of the sun. I want to tell you, I have nothing that you don't have. You have exactly what I have. Christ dwells in me. He knows everything about everything. Christ is able to reveal to you whatever it is that you need to have revealed. Whatever you need to be corrected in your life, Christ is able to do it. What, are you sick today? What did he say to the man laid 38 years at the pool of Bethesda? What did he say to him? Pick up your bed and go home. Is that difficult? See, that's walking in the sunlight. That man heard a word from Jesus Christ. And he simply got up and picked up his bed and away it goes. And here we are. You know, we're going to find there was a man in Australia who lived in the country, and I had been ministering to him. He had a stroke, and his right side was all messed up, and he couldn't use his arm, and his leg didn't work properly, and he had some problems internally as well. And there was a healer, a preacher, you know, that functions in healing. And he was coming to Brisbane. And I happened to be talking to him this day, and he said, he said, I just wish I could get down there. I said, what, you would like to go to the meeting? I said, what for? He said, I believe I could be healed. I said, you really believe you could be healed if you went down to that meeting? He said, yeah. I said, I'll take you. Oh, no. He said, I wouldn't ask you to do that. Drive about 3 hours from your home to come up here to pick me up, drive 3 hours back down to Brisbane, and you know, and take his wheelchair and everything down. I said, I'll do it. If you tell me that you believe you can be healed, I said, I'll take you. So we agreed. I went and picked him up. I took him down to the meeting. And the man up on the platform never even said hello to the boys. There was about 50 wheelchairs there. And I'm sitting with this man in the middle of the whole lot of them. And after nearly 2 hours before the man began to preach anyway, and he said to me, he said, brother, I could get out of here. He said, I need a restroom. I said, brother, I don't know how I'm going to get you out. I think the wheelchairs are all just packed in, you know. So I got him out of there and got him fixed up. And I said, now I've got to get you back in. Don't take me back in there. He said, I don't want to go back in there. The man was so disappointed that the man on the platform never even said hello to the boys in the wheelchairs, or never even acknowledged them, or, you know. So he went home very, very disappointed. But I did that because I didn't know whether God really was going to heal him that way or not. But I said, Lord, you do whatever you want to do. I don't care how you do it. I want the man to be blessed. But he was just so discouraged. He never went to a healing meeting after that. He's dead now, of course. He went past on. But you see, we've got to learn how to walk in the light as he is in the light. And then he said we would have fellowship one with another. Why? Well, if you're walking in the light, I'm going to see who you are. I mean, if I'm walking in the light, I'm going to see who you are, because I've got enough light to shine right upon you and see Christ. You see, and I can see Christ in you. Why? Because if we're walking in the light, then the revelation of what is in that light, which is the Christ, I will see in every one of you, so we have fellowship one with another. Amen. And with his Son, Jesus Christ. All right, so now, let's turn to the book of Kings. The first book of Kings. And chapter 11. And this is about Jeroboam, who's the son of Solomon, remember. And he's going to take over from Solomon at the end of his reign. So in verse 26, it says, And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zerida, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah. And Zeruiah means, my goodness me, she's a harlot. She's a harlot. So he's the son of a harlot. And he marries a wife who is a princess from Egypt. And she's a heathen. She worships idols and so on. So Jeroboam is a kind of a mixed up guy. And it says here that he lifted up his hand against the king. The king had said to him, I'm going to let you become king over the house of Joseph. Ephraim, you'll be king over. Because God didn't want to take the whole kingdom away from Solomon because of David. God had made a promise to David that there'd always be a king to sit upon the throne of David, you see. But see, the northern tribes of Israel, they all left the fellowship, if you like, of Israel. They left. And so this man, he says, this is great. It says in verse 28, the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man, that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. And it came to pass that when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, a prophet met him. And he was a funny sort of a prophet, but he found him in the way, and he clad himself with a new garment. And they too were alone in the field. And so he took his new garment off, and he tore it into 12 pieces. And he gave 10 of them to Jeroboam. But the king had only given him 2 tribes. But he's got 10 pieces now. So he starts to develop his reign now as king, to get the whole 10 tribes to be underneath him. And he tries to assassinate the king into the process. Isn't it amazing that in history it repeats itself so often, even in our lives? Jesus Christ is the king that rules in you, or should be ruling in you. That king that's ruling in you has given to you everything that belongs to him. But not only that, when the king comes to rule, he takes charge of our life when we allow him to, because that's what he's the king. And in the kingdom of God, the king's word is absolute. Nobody argues with the king. Amen. Nobody, there's no, a phone in if you don't like what he does, and you can phone him and say, look, I don't like what you're doing, please can you change that for us? No, because the king's word is final. If we go into